Have you ever wondered what makes the hook punch in Muay Thai different from the hook punch in boxing? Well, today I'm going to cover all the key points that make a difference between the two techniques, and I'm going to explain the advantages and disadvantages of each so you know what will work best for you and under which circumstances. Now also make sure you stick around until the end because I'm going to teach a sneaky Muay Thai veteran move that you're not going to want to miss. Let's get to it. Now this video is going to be short and sweet, and I'm going to cover a lot of material, so stick with me. First off, I want you to understand I'm speaking in generalities. What I say is a boxing technique or a Muay Thai technique is what you're most often going to see in a boxing gym or a boxing fight, and you're most often going to see in a Muay Thai gym and a Muay Thai fight. I have seen Muay Thai fighters use boxing techniques, and I have seen boxers use Muay Thai techniques. Just speaking generalities here. The first difference you need to be aware of is the difference in range. In boxing, the hook is a close range weapon, and it's often taught with the arm bent 90 degrees or less. The reason for this is when they're toe to toe, straight punches aren't such a viable option. However, hook punches and uppercuts are a great way to knock out your opponent from close range. Muay Thai, on the other hand, because they have to deal with kicks on the way in, they generally throw their punches with further extension from a further range because they have to, first off, get past the kicks, and second off, they're using their punches to often set up their kicks. The other part of this is in Muay Thai, a close range punch, although it's a viable option, if you're close enough to land a short hook like that, you're better off throwing an elbow, because let's be honest, elbows are much more devastating. Also in Muay Thai, hanging out in a range where you can easily be hit with an elbow is generally a no-no unless you want to clinch them and tie them up, right? Now, this difference in range results in difference number 2, which is the way the glove and fist is held on the punch. In boxing, more often than not, you're going to see the hook thrown, thumb up, and in Muay Thai, you're going to see often with the palm thrown down. Do a little experiment if you want to understand why. Keep your wrist straight. I want you to place your punching knuckles on a surface, whether it's a punching bag or a wall, and start to back away from it. As you back away from it, you'll realize that you can't quite land those punching knuckles the way you like, but if you turn your palm down, you can still lead with those 2 knuckles. And as you keep backing up, you can even turn your palm further to make sure that those knuckles are making contact. That's the idea here. In Muay Thai, because they're punching from further away, they're adding that bit of rotation to make sure that they're landing with the correct punching knuckles with the correct wrist and bone alignment. Now, I'm not saying one is better than the other. You can use the palm down short, you can use the thumb up long range. People can make it work. It's really a matter of what you practice and a matter of preference. But in general, thumb up is close, and the further you get away, the more you rotate over. So boxing, close range, thumb up. Muay Thai, medium range, palm down. Now this range and the influence of kicks in Muay Thai also changes the stance of the fighter when they're throwing the kicks and the way that they rotate their body. So in boxing, generally, because they don't have to worry about kicks, they're trying to optimize their balance and optimize their ability to add power and speed to the rotation. And they do this by settling their weight a little bit, lowering that center of gravity. By lowering that center of gravity, it's easier to rotate from left and right and rip combos at a fast pace by keeping everything nice and tight and having that good grip on the ground. So now, you'll notice this technique is utilized often in kickboxing. In kickboxing, they generally take punching techniques from boxing, and they also don't have to worry about getting clinched up and ragdolled and hit with knees, and they also don't have to worry about elbows, so they can use these close range boxing techniques, and it works wonders, especially when that center of gravity is low, and the nice tight rotation sets up low kicks beautifully. Where Muay Thai, on the other hand, they're constantly dealing with body kicks and head kicks. So if you're low, you're going to be too slow to check a kick. So they generally narrow up their stance, they stay a little more on the balls of the feet, they stay a little taller, and they're ready to lift that leg at a moment's notice, which also not only helps them block quicker, but it helps them fire off their upper level kicks quicker as well. So basically, to summarize, lower center of gravity is wonderful for fast combos, lots of power, and it's great if you're a kickboxer to throw low kicks. higher center of gravity is better if you're getting attacked constantly with barrages of kicks, or you want to use your punch to throw your own body or head kicks. So boxing lower, Muay Thai higher. Now that influence of the kicks also changes how people tend to rotate that lead leg. Now there's a lot of debate on whether you should rotate this lead leg on a hook, or you should keep those toes forward, do something in between. Once again, if it works, it works. You can rotate your leg and hit someone good and get away with it. But be aware that if you're fighting in Muay Thai or kickboxing, by rotating and exposing that hamstring, you're more likely to get chopped with low kicks, which is why you don't see it as often in Muay Thai. So I may throw a nice hook and they may counter with a low kick that I'm too slow to block. So in Muay Thai, more often than not, they're taught to throw the hook punch without rotating this lead foot. Now you can still rotate the lead foot. You can rotate a little bit, you can rotate it a lot if you can get away with it. But in general, they're gonna keep those toes forward, so they throw their hook and they're ready to block if necessary. What this does, in addition to make it easier to block kicks, is it changes your center of gravity from lowering to rising. So you'll see what I mean. In a boxing hook, center of gravity is already settled. If I wanna add extra power to the hook, I can actually drop the weight into this rear heel and allow my body to rotate through. Nice, solid technique there, nice, solid weight transfer. Muay Thai, on the other hand, they're not gonna drop their weight like this. Instead, what they'll often do is plant weight onto that lead foot, and then they'll explode upward with their hips. So the hip still rotates through, but I'm not staying low and turning my foot over. I'm rising, and that hip is coming up and out to roll that punch through. Once again, you're in a better position to block kicks and you're in a better position to throw kicks afterwards. So even if you're throwing the hook punch and you don't want to rotate all the way through, it still helps to rise up, and you can rotate that hip pretty good even if you don't turn the foot all the way through. So boxing, rotating through. Wonderful technique. Muay Thai, to be a little safer with the leg and to think about a different trajectory of attack. I'm gonna be pushing off of this foot, and rather than settling my weight all the way back, I'm gonna be going up and out at roughly 45 degrees. That brings us to the next difference, and that's the difference in trajectory. So boxing, because it's a close range weapon, it's gonna usually approach from the side, and it's gonna land at this 90-degree angle. Muay Thai, because it's a further range and you're rising on that punch, I'm generally gonna go to the side and forward at roughly a 45-degree angle, as if I'm hitting here and I'm going out the backside. Now this is partially a result of the technique that I just previously explained, but there's also an intention behind this, and it's the way people think about punching. The boxing style is very snappy. You're gonna see a short motion. It's gonna hit, it's gonna come back. It's gonna hit, it's gonna come back. And that's because they're focused on snap. Snap is a great way to knock someone out. Muay Thai, they're less focused on snap and they're more focused on momentum. The idea is to throw their weight behind every technique and not only cause damage, but to knock people off balance. Knocking people off balance is huge in Muay Thai, and it's huge in the eyes of the judges. So, nice snappy technique. Great way to knock someone out. Muay Thai style hook, you can still knock someone out, but the idea is to not just knock them out, it's to just knock them on their ass. Okay? Now, keeping all this in mind, is there a better or worse? Depends on what your circumstances are. Now, if you're boxing, use boxing technique. If you're in Muay Thai, generally you want to use Muay Thai technique, but if you have good boxing, you can employ these techniques. You'll see it with kickboxers and kind of hybrid styles where they do a little bit of everything, right? So here's what I'm talking about. If you're not worried about kicks, keep your punches short and snappy, especially if you're not worried about elbows. If you're kickboxing, you don't have to worry about elbows, you don't have to worry about clinch. You can get close and you don't get punished quite as much, so you can get away with boxing technique, which is a great way, like I said, to lead into low kicks. That rotation is something that's serious. Now, for traditional Muay Thai, especially if you got to worry about elbows, you got to worry about clinch, you want to keep your range, and you want to think about knocking them off balance at all times, because every time they're off balance, that's one less moment for them to counter you. And if you are the type to throw heavy body kicks, the Muay Thai hook is the one for you. Now, one more pro and con that you may not think of is, like I mentioned earlier, the punches are circumstantial. Now, this nice tight hook is a great technique, but in my experience, rotating the palm down allows you to cut through someone's guard a little bit better if they're blocking. So if they're shelling up here and you throw that nice snappy hook, I'm more likely to run into these pillars than if I rotate over the top and I cut through this little gap in their guard. Which brings me to my final point. That's that sneaky veteran move I told you about. Now, remember how I said the further you go out, the more you rotate over? Now this is the way I like to throw a hook punch in Muay Thai. It's really mean, so just be aware of that. So rather than just palm down, I take it a step further and I rotate my knuckles deeper and I throw the hook from further range. And the reason why I do this is because I notice people are pretty good at blocking here, but they're not so good at blocking behind the ear. Now behind the ear, like I said, really rude, not something you want to do to your sparring partners, especially not hard, but behind the ear is a great target to knock someone off balance and to knock someone out, and it's legal in Muay Thai. So what I do is when I'm throwing my hook, I go even further and I rotate even more so, and I try to nail them behind the ear, right? So same idea as the Muay Thai hook I just taught you. I'm just rotating a little more and I'm getting a little further range. And the reason why I do this is because not only are people generally negligent to block the back of their head, but it's wonderful if they happen to slip and end up on the inside. So what I do is I throw this extra long hook, I'm gonna call it, and if they happen to sway or duck or slip and they're still within inside the arm, what I do at that point is I turn that missed punch into a hook using the crook at the base of my thumb. So what I do is I throw the punch, and if they miss, then I hook the back of their neck and I step back, and you've got your knee technique right there. So on the bag, it would look something like this. Land in a punch, land in a punch. Misjudge the range maybe, or maybe they slip in. Oh, that's fine. I use my wrist to hook them, step out, off balance, throw the knee from that point. So there's your little sneaky tidbit. Over rotate, aim for the back of their ear. If you hit it, great. If not, hook around their neck with the crook of your thumb, step out, step back, land your clenched knee from that position. All right, everybody, I hope you got something out of this video. I hope this helped to explain some of the key differences between boxing technique and Muay Thai technique and the influence it has on kickboxing, for example. If this is something that you enjoyed, please subscribe and please hit that notification bell. A lot of my subscribers recently have not even been seeing my videos, which is unfortunate, right? That's the whole point of subscribing. So subscribe if you enjoy, hit that notification bell so you can see what's happening next. And until next time, I got more content coming. Thank you.